What time is it? Summertime. It's our vacation. What time is it? Party time. Everybody say it loud. What time is it? Summertime. At our vacation. What time is it? It's summertime. Okay. Every now and then I'll give you a Disney bop because and who didn't watch High School Musical? That's all I'm saying. Hi friends, welcome back to Save Black Girl Reads, where I am your host Ariel, the best friend in your head that you never knew that you needed, but you are so glad that you have. Welcome back, friend. Here we are. It is week 1 of our first fiction read on this channel. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You know it. Yeah, friend. It's Stacey Abrams while Justice sleeps. We are here. We are. Let me tell you. So remember we were having a conversation. I can't remember in what video we were having a conversation in because it's been a while. You know what I'm thinking about? I was thinking about Johnny Gill. Seems like forever that I've waited for you. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you do. All right. But anywho, in one of the videos, I said that I was going to actually pace out the chapters just by starting to read the book and then let you know what the pace would be. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts. My thoughts are that we can read 14 chapters of this book at a time. And here's why I say, hey friends, hey, everybody calm down. Hey, I know it's an uproar, but listen to me. Okay. We just finished 421 pages last week of Michelle Obama's Becoming. 421. And that was 24 chapters. Okay. We are reading 458 pages. I know it sounds crazy. You're like, yeah, we're gonna slam more chapters in already, but here's the kicker, friend. Here's the kicker. Yes, there are more pages. Absolutely. I do not disagree with you. But I will say this, the chapters are smaller, which is why I'm saying that we can do it. Essentially, the amount of page in the chapters that you would the amount of pages and the amount of time that it would take for you to sit down to read a Michelle Obama chapter, you can get anywhere from 3 to 4 chapters in the Stacey Abrams book, which is why I'm saying, guys, let's just up the chapters and maybe we do this in 3 to 4 weeks as opposed to 6 to 8. Hence the reason why I'm saying 14 chapters. Okay. You know, I did not finish 14 chapters. I'm going to tell you where I stopped. I stopped after chapter 18 of this book. And I'm going to tell you why, because this book is so good. It's so good. Come on. Okay. Let's just go ahead and jump into it because we got to talk about the things. Okay, friend, let's talk about these things. Okay. So you guys know that I like paper, but I also get the audiobooks, and I am one that I like to read along with the audiobook sometimes. And sometimes I'll just read the book. It just kind of depends on the mood that I am in. I'm very much so like I need paper because I like to write the notes and do the things, but I also like to listen to it. I will say this, Stacey Abrams is not She is not narrating this story. It is being narrated by, I forget her name. I really want to give you her name though, but I don't remember. I can try to, I'll put her name somewhere in the video so you can see it. So essentially, but the lady who is narrating this book, she's phenomenal, friend. She's phenomenal. The amount of voices that come out of her head, I was like, wow, who is this brilliant woman? Because she's doing the things. But anywho, okay, let's focus. Focus, friend, focus. Okay, so in the prologue, it started off, I was like, this is some shenanigans here. Because I was like, this is how you start the book, Stacey Abrams? But yes, this is how she started the book. She started the book with, his brain died at 11:47 p.m. Stacey, whose brain has died at 11:47 p.m.? Who is this and why is their brain dead? What had happened? So, friend, I don't even know if I'm going to give you the structured type of situation that I usually give you when we're going over these chapters. I don't know if I can because of the excitement that's what's going on. Listen, I know I told y'all a couple of weeks ago we were reading this book. This has nothing to do with anybody's bio or biography of their life. It doesn't have anything to do with theology and the scriptures that we usually like to go over and dive into and things of that nature. This is good old, we're reading it for fun. This is fun reading. And let me tell you, Stacey Abrams came in and grabbed the women's edges and braided their hair. Like, let me tell you, do you see the edges? The edge is snatched back. Like she did the things in this book. I was like, now, Stacey, how did you have time to release this and you on the campaign trail? She's magical. Obviously, she's written this well ahead of time. Obviously, and she actually, in the audiobook, she doesn't include it in this book, but in the audiobook, she actually gives you a note from herself of how she came up with the book, the things that she went through, the years it took to write it, and how many times she actually had to pitch it. Because I think she had to pitch it like 3 or 4 times before it was actually picked up, because nobody would actually believe in a political legal thriller. Friends, man, I just got to tell you, like, this book had me on the edge of my seat. I started reading this book and I was just like, wow. It really did. It really gave me just a wow factor. So I know I've given y'all 10 minutes of just absolutely just nonstop talking about this book, and I still haven't told y'all anything besides he was brain dead at 11:47 p.m. Okay, so here we go. The prologue introduces who the book is surrounding, one of our main characters. And it is a Supreme Court justice by the name of Howard Wynn, who's suffering from a neurological disease that is tampering with his memory and making him paranoid. Right? So that's what we get. We also are introduced to the president at the time in the book. Mind you, this is all fiction. This is not anything that is real. It's not anything that she said is based off of anything. It's literally just fiction for your good old fashioned fun reading. So the president at the time, his name is Brennan Stokes, right? And then there's Howard Wynn's Justice Wynn's nurse, Jamie Lewis. And then there is a Matt Brewer and a Miss Avery King. And you got to put the asterisk. Yes. Put the asterisk by Miss Avery King's name. Because, child, things develop. So we know. So here's the thing. He has the neurological disease. And Avery King is his 26-year-old law clerk at the Supreme Court, who works for him, and she's been working for him for two terms. Now, Avery King got her own situation because her mama is strung out on crack. As she's clerking at this Supreme Court, and her daddy is dead. Not only that, but you continue to read on and you find out Avery King is a biracial woman who mainly identifies as Black. I'm gonna tell you how I picked up on it, because she went to Spelman. Then they were talking about her curly hair, but then at the same time they said she had green eyes, but they was also talking about her hue. And I was like, oh, okay, Stacey made her a mixed Black woman, basically. Her mom is white, strung out on crack because of the situation that happened with her dad. Okay, so, and you find out also that Avery, she know how to work them gambling tables too, friend. She do. I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Okay, so that's what you find out between the prologue and chapter 1. That's what you find out. So then in chapter 2, there's a lot more introductions. So here's the thing, and here's how we get to how the possibility of the brain deadness could possibly take place. So there is the head of this biogenetics company called Advar Biogenetics, and there is this pharmaceutical company by the name of Genworks Labs. Advar is in India and is run by this woman called Dr. Indira Srinivasan. And see, that's why you need the audio, because you need to know how to pronounce the things. But then the founder and president of Genworks Labs is a 40-year-old Nigel Cooper. Dr. Indira is 38. Nigel Cooper is 40. They're trying to have this merger take place. And if they do have the merger take place, they gonna wind up making, I think, trillions of dollars. Right? Now, in chapter 2, the book has now expanded to 3 main locations that you need to be aware of: Washington, D.C., Bangalore in India, and Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Okay, cool. Got it. You got it. All right, good. So around chapter 2, my spidey senses started tingling. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I was like, because Nigel Cooper knew that Howard Wynn was in the hospital with brain dead. And then, lean in, friend. Let me tell you this tea. Indira and Nigel used to be a thing. So they got that going on. Then there's this notation of this project called Tigress. Indira wished Tigress would go away tomorrow. And I don't know what it is or why it is as bad as it is, but apparently Tigress is going to be the bane and one of the central parts of this story. So essentially, I'm not telling you everything that takes place, but I'm giving you a good amount of the things. I'm giving you some of the tea. So that was all on a Sunday night. Chapters 1, the prologue, chapters 1 and chapter 2, all take place on Sunday, June 18th. Now, chapters 3 through chapter 17 all take place on Monday, June 19th, right? So Monday, June 19th is a lot going on, friend. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But from chapter 3 to chapter 17, that is essentially Monday, June 19th, where we now find out that the shenanigans of Howard went beyond his brain deadness. Okay, cool. Chapter 3. The nurse is come and gone. Okay, she was in the prologue. She was in chapter 3. Then she is no more. Take from that what you will, but I'm just saying. Wow. Came and gone. There's an anonymous voice or an anonymous man that seems to be pulling some powerful strings. I don't know the connection just yet, but I'm trying to put it together. I'm trying to map it out, friend. It's you know on those TVs where they have those boards and they have the yarns that's connecting. Sometimes in the FBI room when you're watching the FBI show and they got the yarn, that's really what I'm doing in my head with this book already. I'm like, who is this and how you connected and this, that, and third. Okay, so in chapter 4, this is what we have going on. We are introduced to Chief Justice Teresa Roseborough, who is the Chief Supreme Court Justice at the Capitol Building. I think that's the Capitol Building, or at the Supreme Court building where Avery King is clerking. And we also are introduced to her assistants, Debbie and Mary. And we're also introduced to a Major William Vance, who happens to be a presidential liaison from the Department of Homeland Security. And the question that I have is, when in your life have you ever known a president? And I said it just how I meant it, friend. I said it just like I meant it. A president to have a personal liaison from the Homeland Security Department. Whom? Which president? Exactly. I know. The spidey senses are tingling and they're going off as they should, because how, and why? Got these questions. So then, here we go. Chapter 4. Avery come in to work late because she been out looking for a mama at the crack house. Terrible. She finds out Justice Wynn is in the coma. And that he has left his power of attorney and legal guardianship to her. Okay. I know. I don't know if you know the big deal that is, but that's a hullabaloo of a deal, friend. Let me tell you, for your 26-year-old law clerk who all y'all have is a business relationship of superior and employee, of director and employee, like boss, employee, manager, employee type of situation. That's really strange from anybody on the outside looking in, that you would leave your 26-year-old employee the power of attorney to make your decisions and the legal guardianship over yourself and all of the things that you need to take care of from there on out, when he has a wife and an estranged child. What? I was shooketh. I was shooketh because who does this? This is a lot going on. So she finds this out because she's in Chief Justice Teresa Roseborough's office, and she presents the folder to Avery that says she has power of attorney and legal guardianship. Major William Vance, the liaison, I don't trust him, but he has the feelings that she, Avery King, and Justice Howard Wynn was sleeping together. Take from that what you will. I don't know yet. Nothing in the chapters have been exposed to say that as of yet, so I don't know. But then I also asked myself a question, because I was like, I wonder if William Vance is this anonymous man that we get in chapter 3 when the nurse was there and then she was not. Right. So yeah, I wondered. But one thing that I did take away from chapter 5, because I don't know if you realize, but we're already in chapter 5. One thing I noticed was that Chief Justice Roseboro is a force to be reckoned with. She reminds me of Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if Stacey Abrams wrote her in to be something kind of like it, but she definitely is a force to be reckoned with. Her wit is quick. She's by the book. She's intuitive and attentive. It kind of makes me wonder whether or not she's going to take this role of guarding Avery as we proceed through the book, or if she's also going to hold Avery accountable for things as they proceed throughout the book, whether or not Avery decides to play by these rules and the power of attorney and the legal guardianship, because we still don't know. Pretty much chapter 5. Chapter 6 flashes over to Bangalore, India, where Dr. Indira is getting her butt handed to her by her board members, and she's making these decisions. They are of the thought process that this merger between Advar and GenWorks is not going to happen, and they're going to lose a whole bunch of market share if it doesn't. And it's being stonewalled, and we find out that it is being stonewalled and it's sitting in the Supreme Court. The decision of whether or not to let them merge is sitting in the Supreme Court. It's being stonewalled by none other than the president, Brandon Stokes. So it's a lot of stuff going on. Avery is going through Judge Wynn's stuff because she recalls a conversation where he had her sign a document, and she don't know what document it was. He said it was something in personnel. She finds out that it's not. She then starts rummaging through his computer. She pops his password on the computer, and she's in there, and she's looking at his emails and the things. And we find out that she also has an eidetic memory, right? And so she's committing some of these things to memory, but then she is also, let me tell you what she's also doing. She is also printing off his stuff and deleting it from his desktop, just in case somebody else come behind her and try to get the information. Then they don't know, because what I didn't tell you is that Justice Howard Wynn actually left a message for Avery on the voicemail. She hadn't gotten it yet, but he told the nurse to leave the message, and she did, and that's possibly how she came and went. In chapter 8, we find out President Brandon Stokes is tied to the Tigers Project that Indira is sick of, that Advar and GenWorks were also involved in, I'm assuming. So we find out the president is corrupt, and he could be behind putting Justice Wynn in a coma. Or maybe not. We can't say that he put Justice Wynn in a coma. What we can say, because the doctors are going to confirm it, but they said something in the prologue about him being put in the coma. The doctors are going to confirm it later in the chapter, but I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. But no, the president didn't put Justice Wynn in a coma, but he's been watching him intently. I'll say it like that. Avery gets a phone call while she's rummaging through Justice Wynn's computer in his office and stuff. She gets a phone call from the hospital where Justice Wynn is, and they are admonishing her to come on down to the hospital so that they can have this conversation with the second wife who Howard Wynn was married to, and his estranged son, who is also there. Now, let me tell you something. Family is fickle, and I will say it like that. Reading this book, family is fickle. And I'm gonna tell you how. This wife that's at the hospital had lived with him, and they've been legally separated for some years. She's been down to the hotel living. The son has been estranged since the first wife, when the first wife died, and he sent the son off to go live with his deceased wife's sister and husband. So the son was raised by aunt and uncle when dad has been at the Supreme Court. The current wife, and so let me tell you something. Somehow that second wife, she's in on it too. I'm gonna tell you how. Because there was something that happened when Avery got the information that she was power of attorney. Major William Vance was trying to tee up that first wife. And he was trying to say that the power of attorney wasn't legitimate. And he was trying to tee up that first wife. But then that's how Chief Roseborough came through with the we gonna do this by the book. But then we go to the hospital and we see that the first wife is also on some shenanigans. And she had a flashback moment where it said that where she's having a thought in her mind. She didn't say it out loud, but we know it because we got 360 view of all the characters where apparently she and Major William Vance have discussed something of a power of attorney situation. She's trying to kill him. The first wife is trying to end him. The son doesn't really know. The son is mainly just trying to argue with the first wife of, I'm the one, I'm the kid, I'm the next of kin. She ain't even married to him. I'm the one who should have the decision. He just wants the decision. He doesn't know what the decision would be, but the first wife is definitely out here trying to kill him. So the first wife's name is Celeste, and the son's name is Jared. Everybody has an angle. We know that Jared has an angle. We don't know what his angle is yet because he left a note in Avery's hand in the hospital when she said the things. Celeste basically was ready to jump stupid, but Jared shook her hand and left a note in her hand and was like, meet me at midnight at the bookstore. So going on. Avery then meets with the hospital council. She also meets with the doctors treating him. And here's what we were talking about, right? The doctors confirm that, yes, he has this neurological disease. And they try to tell her the things. And they basically talk about how Justice Wynn created his own concoction that put him in a coma. Like, no one else did it. The nurse didn't do it. No one else did it. He did it himself. That's what we know, based off of what Nurse Jamie told him, based off of their interaction before she came and went, and before he went into the coma. He induced this coma upon himself. In chapter 12, Avery goes to Nurse Jamie's house. Because Nurse Jamie left that voicemail. She's now checked her voicemails. She gets the message from Nurse Jamie. She goes over to the apartment to have a conversation with her to find out any more information. And lo and behold, she knocked on the door. She don't get no answer. She calls. She don't get no answer. So she picks the lock. She goes in. She finds out Nurse Jamie is DEAD. Gone. She's gone, friend. She is gone. And so, so Avery reports it. She does the things. We get like an FBI agent that is now introduced. Can't remember what his name is for whatever purposes, but I'm sure it'll jog my memory once I jump back into reading it. But essentially, she's interrogated by the FBI. She gets a phone call telling her to keep Justice Wynn alive by an anonymous person. Avery meets with Jared, Justice Wynn's son, at 12 o'clock. And she, at this point, her house is surrounded by U.S. Marshals. She shakes the marshals. She sneaks out. She goes to meet with Jared. And then she comes back home. Her mom is sitting in the hallway wanting some money. And let me tell you, so her mother is sitting in the hallway. Her mother didn't know where she lived, and she's found out where she's lived, right? The shenanigans. So her mom is talking about, let me crash on the couch. She's trying to keep her mother out of the house because she already knows if she lets her mama in, her mom gonna clean that apartment out come next day because she gonna get some money for it. So she doesn't want her mother, like she didn't even want her mother knowing where she lived. And now all of a sudden her mother knows where she lives, but now her mom is talking about, let me sleep on the couch. She's like, no, girl, you gotta go find somewhere else to stay. So basically she bribes her mother to leave her with $80. it's sad. It's so sad, but it's also like riveting because you're trying to figure out who did what and why did justice win. Because now justice, what the message that justice win gave her, the president also knows the message, and the president knows, as well as Avery King now knows that, and she shares it with his son Jared, that Justice Wynn was playing chess at the end of the day with his life to put himself in a coma. You got to be kidding me. I was like, this is way too much. It's too much, Fred. It's too much for my nervous system. I don't know. But so we find out that Jared is invested in this type of situation because the same neurological disease that his father has, he has the trait for. It's just earlier on in him than it is in the father. It's late for the father. The father knows this. The father also knows that Evar and Jen Works, if they come together to do the things, they could actually do something to help with the neurological disease. However, they can't do it if they're not merged yet, because essentially it's proprietary information and all of that. And so Justice Howard was going to be the swing vote that said, yes, they can merge. Essentially, he wanted them to merge because of his neurological disease that the son also has. So he did this for his son, not for himself, because he's further along in the disease, but he did it for his son. And I was like, oh, that is so sweet, even though you weren't present, you were dead. Your son's like, so I guess this is like his last hurrah for what he could do for his kid. All of this has happened and we don't even know. So Monday has gone by. All of these shenanigans have happened in Monday. And we don't even realize up to this point that Avery King is living with a roommate named Ling, until she get on the phone and call her, and Ling called her stupid. She was like, girl, you stupid. And she was like, wait, why am I stupid? She was like, because all of this shenanigans have happened and this is your first time in the day picking up the phone to call me. And I was like, sis got a point, because you need to be able to kind of like exhale some of this information. But I get it also from her perspective and standpoint. She's all of a sudden been put in this place. She didn't even want it. She didn't even necessarily think anything of it. Now, all of a sudden, everybody thinks you're sleeping with your boss and that you didn't, and that something else was going on with the two of you. I was just like, it is too much. We got to find out what's going on with this Tigress project and why President Stokes don't want the merger to happen. Because essentially the reason why the decision is sitting in the Supreme Court is because of him. So now we got to figure, and apparently before he was president, he was also in cahoots with Nigel Cooper, who funded his shenanigans for, I guess, Tigress project. I don't know. So that's where we are as of right now. So that's all of it, friend. That's literally all of it. I've told you everything that I know. But this is such a good read so far. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm happy to just have something that's just like a fun read and nothing else to come of it. So that's pretty much it. Now, in the next reading or in the next video, the expectation is that we get from, you need to have chapters 19 through, what did I say? I said 14 chapters. So essentially that's, doing math. That's 23 chapter. No, girl. That's 33. Chapters 19 through 33 done. Or somewhere in the vicinity. I'm going to go ahead and say chapters 19 through 33. If I continue on a little bit further, then I'll let you know. But if not, we are doing chapters 19 through 33 to get the gist, because my goodness, this is a lot going on and I need to know what else is happening. So we'll catch up next week, friend. Until next time, saints and ain'ts, I'll be seeing you. Bye.